Oh, snap. Welcome back to the channel, y'all. If you like true crime, I don't know what I was going to say right there. If you like true crime, I don't know what's happening tonight, y'all. It's another weird night. Hit the subscribe button, YouTube. Welcome in. Who's in here? Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button for me, too. Help spread the word about the live stream. We got 50 likes already, YouTube. What the hell? That was crazy as hell. Let's get 100. Everybody tap the screen like crazy on TikTok as well. We're live on TikTok. Welcome in, y'all. YouTube, The Mystery Project. Thank you guys for helping this channel get almost to 15,000 followers in like a month and a half, 2 months. And TikTok, we're at 241,014 followers on TikTok. Insane. I didn't think anybody was going to care at all about watching me or listening to me talk about these cases and listening to these videos and stuff. Crazy. But I appreciate the hell out of y'all. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the support. Thanks for the TikTok gift things. YouTube, thanks for the super chats. Thanks for joining the channel. If you're in the chat right now, it's pinned at the very top, or it's the little thingy down at the bottom. You can join the channel. Become a felony. Become a misdemeanor. Become a capital case. Go check it out. Okay. You guys ready to jump into this? Let's do it, y'all. Agatha May. Oh, my goodness. Y'all know we love us. Absolutely love us some Agatha May. So she put out a video about Tricia Ross. So I figured, let's do it. Let's freaking do it. And y'all, if you have not subscribed to Agatha May, you have to. She's fantastic. This is one of the first channels that we found when we were talking about this case that just was like undeniable, y'all. Like straight up, just like boom. Like you have to follow this lady. She's fantastic. And Agatha, if you're watching this, you've got to send me an email. Let's do a live stream together. Patrick@thehauntedSide.com. Y'all keep blowing up her comments and tell her, come on, get on over here. All right, let's do this, y'all. I'm gonna shrink myself down. She's talking about Tricia Ross. Here we go. Oh, Lord.
Welcome to, or welcome back to, the Agatha May Detective Agency.
Yeah.
I'm Agatha May, and I'm here with another video.
Yes, ma'am, you are.
And another nickname.
Oh, here we go. And by the way, y'all, yeah, Agatha May, it's pinned or it's tagged in the description if you can't find it on YouTube.
Tricia, look at my boots, Ross. Got her nickname because this chick...
Look at my boots, Ross. Yes, Agatha May, we freaking love you.
He needs some milk.
Really digs her some girly combat boots.
Oh, damn.
Not only are they a fun fashion choice, but they are more than likely necessary to wear while being around John Paul Miller due to the constant flow of excrement pouring from his mouth.
Oh, Agatha May. Oh, I missed you. I missed you so much. She did comment on a video and said that her husband likes watching these videos, like of me reacting to it, more than her actual videos. And she was laughing about that. Oh, so if you're watching this, it's great to see you. Oh, let's go.
Tricia Island Ross was born in 1967 to David and Mary Jo August Island in Zaragoza, Spain. That's right, España. Well, this is already way more exciting than Susie's video was. Now, when I first discovered that Tricia was born in Spain, I was positively giddy, thinking about turning her into a Spanish señorita and having the entire video be Spanish-themed. Just think of all the same...
TikTok, if you're not over on YouTube right now, come on over because you get to see these animations that she makes and these little caricatures. Is that the right word? Caricature? You gotta come look at them, y'all. The Mystery Project on YouTube.
Sangria and castanets and flamenco and bullfighting. Not to mention the tapas and paella and La Sagrada Familia and Alhambra. But it turns out Tricia's just plain old American. The disappointment is palpable. Tricia grew up in a military family. Her paternal grandfather was a command sergeant major in the Army. Well, that is fancy. And her
Whoa.
father was a sergeant, which isn't as fancy, but still okay, I guess. Her
Damn.
father was stationed in Zaragoza when Tricia was born. So Tricia was born an American in the land of siestas and sunshine. Well, that explains her sunny disposition. Tricia grew up in DeLand, Florida. DeLand has a population of 41,324 and is about 34 miles north of Orlando. Now, Orlando is a place that I visited once, and I never want to visit there ever again for as long as I live.
Oh my God.
You what?
Agatha May, what happened?
Emotional damage.
And in fact, I don't even want my ashes to visit there once I'm dead.
Damn.
DeLand
What the hell happened to what happened to Agatha May in Orlando?
was originally known as Persimmon Hollow until a stupid baking soda magnate, Henry Addison DeLand, came to town and decided that Persimmon Hollow needed buildings and infrastructure. The townspeople, who obviously enjoyed luxuries such as streets more than they appreciated picturesque town names, renamed the town DeLand. Okay, that had nothing to do with Tricia, but we're here to learn. Tricia attended DeLand High School from 1981 through 1985, and at that time her parents owned a home security company. Throughout high school, Tricia was involved in nothing, absolutely nothing. No
I can't handle it. Agatha, you're catching your stride. These videos are fantastic.
sports, no clubs, no yearbook staff, nothing. It seems she just went to class and then went home. Well, maybe she had to help install security systems for the family business. I'll
Whoa.
bet she could shimmy up the side of a house and not even need a ladder. Tricia's parents divorced in 1983, and her father moved to Maryland, the old line state,
Whoa.
which is a nickname that doesn't exactly inspire me to want to visit. However, the official state dance of Maryland is the square dance.
Baltimore was crazy as hell, y'all. I've been to Baltimore and I was like, oh my God. Got any Baltimoreans in the house?
And nothing beats a good old-fashioned hoedown. Tricia graduated in 1985 and was carrying a little graduation present of her own. That's a not-so-subtle euphemism for her being pregnant. She went to live with her father in Maryland and became a single mother. It doesn't appear the baby's father was ever in the picture, and according to Tricia, he was abusive. I
shit.
absolutely do not judge Tricia for being a teenage mother, especially not when there are so many other things to be judgy about. It seems as though her daughter is a well-adjusted, productive member of society and has good judgment.
Oh, well, there you go. Nikki says, I live in Baltimore. Oh, no. Sorry to hear that. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't think she got that last trait from Tricia, though. Tricia stayed in Maryland for the next several years, and I don't actually know what she was doing during this time, other than being a single mother, which is enough. But we can pretend she was working at the Piggly Wiggly. I don't know that Maryland has Piggly Wigglies, but they do for this story. So Tricia was working
Louisiana has Piggly Wigglies, though.
at the Piggly Wiggly as a cashier, but sometimes helped out in the meat department, because Tricia can cut up an entire side of beef in 15 minutes flat. She loved her job at the Piggly Wiggly, mostly because the red apron she wore reminded her of the bullfights in the land of her non-heritage birth. One day, a man named Gary Diley walked into that Piggly Wiggly, and he decided on the spot that he wanted to transform Tricia from a senorita into a senora. So in May of 1993, Tricia and Gary were married in St. Mary's County, Maryland. That's a lot of Marys. They had a son in 1995, but did not name him Piggly nor Wiggly. So the part about her marrying Gary and then having a son is actually true. It is also sadly true that their son is not named Piggly nor Wiggly. Tricia and Gary decided they'd had enough of the land of crabs and square dancing, so they moved to Murrells Inlet, South Carolina, the land
Lord.
also of crabs. But those South Carolina dancing fools think square dancing is for squares, so they dance the shag. As an aside, until research...
Oh, man, so it's a totally different kind of crabs. The shag crabs? The shag crabs? Just kidding.
You what?
Uh-oh.
Searching for this video, I was unaware that some states have official dances. It seems as though the majority of the 30-something states that do have adopted the square dance. So original. In 2004, Tricia was charged for breach of trust with fraudulent intent, which is embezzlement.
Ooh.
She was sentenced to probation and ordered to pay over $5,000 restitution.
Oh,
Now,
Lord.
this is the only infraction on Tricia's record that I found. I haven't even found a parking ticket. She does not have a list of arrests and tickets like other people we know. For instance, just off the top of my head, the Millers. Maybe she's just so proficient at crime she doesn't get caught. Tricia filed for a divorce from
How dare you!
Gary in 2005, but the divorce wasn't final until 2007. The reason it took so long was because South Carolina has odd divorce laws that dictate that if the divorce is uncontested, you have to live apart for a year before the divorce can be finalized. Just like Suzie the side chick, Tricia the sidekick was the
She said Suzie the side chick and Tricia the side kick. Oh, Agatha, please. Please, we need to tag her. Agatha, are you in here somewhere?
subject of a blog post on Solid Rock Church's website. And like Susie's post, once Mica's death started making the news, the church took down the blog post about Tricia, too. And by the church, I mean Tricia. But once again, I found the archive version of the post, because I'm nothing if not irritatingly determined. So in the post, Tricia
Damn, get it, Agatha.
is talking about meeting John Ross, the love of her life. Quote, Tricia says she then married her son's father. Her son is 27. They divorced and she met the love of her life, John, in 2004. I met him and
It's real hard.
immediately we were like soulmates. It was kind of weird. Both my kids loved him. End quote. Well, hold the phone. If we do some super quick and actually unnecessary math, we discover that Tricia and John met before she was divorced. Tricia, you saucy tart, you.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
She said, you saucy tart, you. Rhonda, howdy, ma'am. Thank you for the hit.
You met the love of your life but didn't file for divorce from your husband until the next year. How deliciously scandalous. Tricia and John started attending Solid Rock Church together in 2007. Well, I guess it's good she decided to wait until she was divorced before taking her soulmate to church. There might be a problem with that, though. Tricia's husband's full name was John Thomas Ross. We'll call him John number 1 to make things less confusing. There are Horry County court records with John number 1's full name, his date of birth, and the address where Tricia currently lives. So John number 1 is definitely her husband. There is also a John Thomas Ross number 2 in the Horry County court records for a divorce, but the records don't have a date of birth or an address listed to compare to John number 1. So John number 2 was divorcing a woman named Cynthia, and Cynthia is on John number 1's record as being a relative. Now, I've requested a copy of the divorce papers to verify, and I should be getting them soon. But my inner Nancy Drew is telling me that John number 1 and John number 2 are definitely the same John Thomas Ross. Now, you might be wondering why I'm so gosh darn heckin' obsessed with John Thomas Ross's divorce, and probably wondering how many more times I'm going to say John Thomas Ross. Well, the reason I'm so interested is because John Thomas Ross didn't file for his divorce from Cynthia until 2010, and his divorce wasn't final until March of 2011.
Whoa.
Oh my. So John and Tricia were carrying on a torrid love affair while at least one of them was still married to someone else. Okay, maybe not torrid. Maybe a lukewarm, hand-holding only love affair, one in which they definitely left room for Jesus between them at all times. Now, I've heard that John Paul wouldn't let people serve in the church because they were living together and weren't married. But it's no problem for Tricia to take her still married man concubine to church. Someone go fetch me my clutching pearls.
Oh, the picture, Agatha.
I'm beginning to wonder if anyone at Solid Rock Church actually waits to be divorced before starting their next relationship. John was diagnosed with cancer in 2007, so maybe he stayed married to his first wife for insurance purposes. Or maybe Tricia didn't know he was married. Or maybe she knew and didn't care. John and Tricia married in November of 2011. Sadly, John Ross lost his battle with cancer in 2016. The last few lines of his obituary read, John's celebration of life service will be held at 1 p.m. Saturday, July 9th at Solid Rock Ministries, led by Pastor John Paul Miller. Visitation with the family will be held immediately following the service in the church fellowship hall. In lieu of flowers, donations may be made to Solid Rock Ministries, 803 Howard Avenue, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Whoa, they said don't buy that man flowers, just give me the money. Damn.
Well, how convenient for Solid Rock Ministries. I'd like to think this was a fund for Tricia, but I have my doubts. And there was also a fund set up for Tricia at a bank, but it had the disclaimer that if someone wanted their donations to be tax deductible, they could send it to Solid Rock Church. Well, now I have double the doubts. I wonder if Tricia actually received everything that was donated. Do you think John Paul made her tithe out of the donations? I feel as though that would be a very John Paul thing to do. Now, I took a peek at Tricia's Facebook page, and when I say peek, I mean I scoured that sucker. And
God, Agatha, you're incredible.
let me tell you that when I say that this woman's life is completely centered around Solid Rock Church, I am not exaggerating even a little. Of all the pictures she has posted, if they aren't of her family, they are of the church and church events. And there are definitely more church posts than family posts. I didn't see a single aspect of her life outside her family that wasn't church-centered. If the church was a person, Tricia would physically be up their backside so far, she could use their spleen as a pillow. I'm sorry, that was a little gross.
Agatha May, you're killing me. What the hell? Y'all, you please, for the love of God, go subscribe to Agatha May on YouTube. And while you're there, you got to subscribe to the Mystery Project as well.
But it was very descriptive. Tricia needs an intervention because she is deep in cult leader worship territory. This is not normal. If you want to be involved in your church, go for it. But when it consumes your life, it is not healthy. The church blog post about Tricia also touched on how much she was involved in the church. Quote, with only Mondays off, she considers Sundays at church a day off. Tricia's daily duties behind the scenes include coordinating the short groups each season, gathering the announcements and posting them on social media, helping with Faith First Academy, meeting with new members, training leaders, answering church emails, updating the website, coordinating pizza with the pastor, and as a recently anointed administrative pastor, serving at baptisms, funerals, and weddings. Most churches with more than 500 people in the congregation, like Solid Rock, have at least a half dozen full-time employees pulling off what Tricia does. But because of her superpower administrator skills, Solid Rock is able to function at its high level of excellence with only 2 full-time employees, Tricia and Pastor John Paul. End quote. Well, isn't it just fantastic that John Paul is overworking Tricia so he doesn't have to pay anyone else? He's so frugal. And then he gives her the title of administrative pastor so he can shove more of his responsibilities onto her. And then showers her with praise to make her think that sacrificing her life and her sanity for the church is noble. What a swell boss. And now we come
I'm the best boss ever.
to the part of the narrative where we go on a little field trip into Tricia's mind, and we try to determine if she's just poor little Tricia who should be pitied, or if she's a little bit villainous Tricia who spends Friday nights plotting the demise of her enemies and fine-tuning her plan of global domination. Recently, when Solid Rock Church posted about Superhero Sunday, some people mocked it. Now, I don't know that they knew that Superhero Sunday originated with John's death and that his nickname at the church was Superman. Tricia was understandably defensive because it's something that's important to her. So she wrote a Facebook post about it that included the following. My husband and my life was the church, and it kept him strong while he fought cancer. And for those insinuating that my husband has a suspicious death, I would love for you to read the daily journal we kept of his fight with cancer. He was diagnosed at 35 years old with colon cancer, stage 3C, and died at 45. No, Pastor JP did not have anything to do with his death, and as a matter of fact, he was with him through the entire journey, even coming to a hospital setting when they expected him to die in the first coma after aspirating into both lungs during a surgery to put a stent in his colon.
Why would she say that?
Well, John Paul cared so much, he visited John once at the hospital during the 9 years that John had cancer. Well, that is some dedication to his calling, isn't it? And Tricia thinks that this shows that he cares. That bar is so low, a worm couldn't trip on it. And Tricia continues. So, you want to hate me, go right ahead. But I draw the line when you speak against anything to do with my husband. That is not okay. The hardest thing for me to say right now is I pray for all of you. I don't pray anything bad, but I truly pray from the heart. Oh, Tricia, just go ahead and admit that you're praying for bad stuff. Because why else would you have felt the need to deny that you were doing it before you were even accused of it? So what level of bad are we talking about, though?
Oh, damn.
On a scale with 1 being uncontrollable itching of our nether regions, and 10 being having to listen to John Paul's high-pitched whine 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, where are we? I feel like anything more than a 4 or 5 will warrant you and I needing to have a little chat. Tricia concluded her admonishment with, I had a church family go to the ICU at Grand Strand Hospital, all with their Superman shirts on praying for him. They camped out at the hospital to make sure we were fed every day. Another one of our pastors stayed the night at hospital with me. So say what you want, everyone that had attended Solid Rock had been my family since 2007. The thing is, we really loved each other, and that's next to impossible to find. I have noticed that when Tricia speaks about her husband, she repeats the same things, that John was her soulmate, that he fought cancer, the church nicknamed him Superman, the church was supportive, he received his degree, and then she got hers. It's as though she is stuck in 2016 and that loop keeps playing over and over and over. I think Tricia needs grief counseling. I think the church is her entire life because she was happy with John while they were serving at the church. I think that to her, the church is a connection to him. So in her mind, as long as she can hang on to the church, she can hang on to John. But at what cost? I think Tricia's obsession with the church has led her down a path that is more than likely going to end somewhere she doesn't want to be. So what are some other possibilities as to why Tricia remains loyal to John Paul? One is that she's in love with him, and that is one wholly unpleasant thought. Holy as in all-encompassing, not holy as in amen. Maybe she admires him for reasons that are far beyond my scope of understanding, and she has a deep-seated need for his approval. Has there been something missing from her life that he provides? The only thing I can think of that a person could be missing in order for them to need John Paul is a portion of their brain. Now, I suspect that Tricia has been involved in some financial dealings at the church that she knows aren't exactly legal or even ethical. Maybe she didn't realize it at first, but I find it hard to believe that she hasn't caught on by now. John Paul might be the one instructing her to write the checks, but she needs to remember that it's her signature on them. And if she doesn't think he'll lie and say that he had no idea she was writing these checks, she is in for a rude awakening. Now, Tricia's been with the church for 15 years. She knows things. And I think she's an information gatherer. I think she learns things about people and runs and tells John Paul, and he pats her on the head and tells her what a good job she's doing. Maybe John Paul is holding something over her well-patted head. Maybe he knows her dirty little secret. But it would have to be something stonkin' horrific to be worse than staying loyal to John Paul. Tricia
Damn. Brittany, thank you. Desiree, thank you. Y'all hit me with those things. I appreciate it.
pretends that she isn't bothered about most things and that she's above it all. But I think underneath that facade, she is very angry with recent events.
Uh-oh. Desiree, thank you. Amanda, good to see you.
Recently, Tricia had an overnight stay in the hospital that she said was due to stress. But there are rumors that it was actually because she had purposely stopped taking her insulin and blood pressure medicine for 3 days.
Oh, hell, you crazy for that. Caitlin, thank you. Welcome to the team. Y'all hit that little subscribe button down there.
She had to stay overnight to stabilize her blood sugar. I would venture to say that if this is the case, it was only done to garner sympathy. Regardless of what she was there for, though, did John Paul go to visit her? I'm going to guess no, and that should tell Tricia everything she needs to know about what he really thinks of her. The most unsettling thing I found that makes me weigh the possibility of Tricia being villainous is the news video of her talking about Mica's death. For the clip only being 13 seconds, I think it says a lot. I'll play it first with the sound off, and I want you to watch it and see what it looks like she's talking about. If I didn't already know what she was talking about, I'd swear she was talking about something that made her happy. She's smiling. She looks happy. If I had to choose background music for what was happening on her face, I would pick a polka over a funeral dirge. Now here's the video with the sound on.
She went to Africa this time. She just fell in love. That was her heart. She'd do anything for anybody.
Now her facial expressions do not match her words. So either she was happy that Mica had died, or she's one of those people who laugh when they are nervous. I don't know her well enough to say for sure, but when she realized she was smiling, she had to stop and do the fake, no really, I'm super upset and sad. and let me suck in a bunch of air through my teeth and try to quiver my bottom lip, but do it so badly that for a nanosecond, it looks like my face is stuck in one of those bathroom hand dryers that are so powerful you feel like they're going to blow the skin right off the back of your hands.
Oh my God, Agatha May, you're savage.
He needs some milk.
Lord have mercy.
Then you'll know how terribly upset I am, and you'll think I'm distraught. Did you catch that I'm sad? Because I'm super sad. I'm sad. Then, in the middle of her act, she apologized. But was she
She said in the middle of her act.
apologizing for smiling or for her horrible acting job? And then she goes right back to smiling.
Whoa.
And when she is saying affirmative things about Mica doing anything for anybody, she is slightly shaking her head no as she speaks. Her body language is very interesting in this video. Now, Tricia has said that she loved Mica, but I'm not convinced. She also said that she and Mica were close, and I think that's a complete lie. Of all the very many photos that Tricia has on Facebook, there isn't a single one of her and Mica together. So, is Tricia pitiful, or is she a villain? Well, I think she's just her own little cuckoo cocktail of both. A Tricia Rita.
Oh no.
3 parts misguided loyalty, 1 part unrequited love, another part villainy, 1 part wanting to belong, 1 part hostility, 1 part needing to be needed, 1 part resentment. This cocktail has so many parts. Give it a stir and serve it in a glass that is rimmed with the salt from the tears of Tricia's enemies. I do feel sorry for Tricia to a point. I think that John Paul probably took advantage of her at a time when she was very vulnerable. I think he zeroed in on that vulnerability and manipulated her to the point that, for whatever unfathomable reason, she is more loyal to him than she is anyone else. But she is choosing him over her own family, and I will never understand that. Neither of her children are talking to her anymore because of the way she's sticking with and defending John Paul. Tricia has grandbabies, and I cannot for the life of me understand how she can turn her back on them, especially to choose Monkey Boy of all people. Even setting a
She called him Monkey Boy, y'all. Oh no.
aside his misdeeds, between his obnoxious personality and his screechy, banshee voice, I can't imagine even being able to be around him in the first place. But to choose John Paul Miller over your children and grandchildren? To quote the title of his poorly written book, that's a big hell no. Then again, if someone asked me to choose between hanging out with a reanimated Ted Bundy
God, the one-liners are great. Is that a real book? Did he actually write that? Oh, Lord.
or with John Paul Miller, I'd ask a zombie Ted if he wanted to go to the movie first or have dinner first. When the FBI interviews Tricia, do you think she'll just melt into a pile of snot and tears and immediately spill her guts? Or will she try to lie for John Paul? Or perhaps she'll think she's telling the truth, but will actually be lying because she believes everything that John Paul says, even though the majority of what comes out of his whiny little cake hole is just a bunch of big fat lies.
Whiny little cake hole.
So what do you all think? Is Tricia a nefarious ne'er-do-well? Is she in love with John Paul? Is she hoping he'll whisk her away to a tropical island where they can sip Tricia-ritas and laugh over the millions they've plundered from the church? Or has she chosen to fill an empty place in her heart with a man and a church that are only going to bring her more heartache? I hope she realizes soon that John Paul will throw her under the bus so fast that she won't even feel him push her. Sadly, he's probably already set her up to take the fall. To my knowledge, Tricia is not being investigated for any crime or is a person of interest in any investigation. except for the FBI probably wanting to have a little chinwag with her. She is innocent until proven guilty.
Oh my God. Agatha May, you did it again. Unbelievable.